Most men and women settle regarding the person they choose to share their life with. This leads to many one-sided relationships that end in misery. Throughout this video, I'm going to teach you how to avoid being in a one-sided relationship. So we're going to go through the signs and indicators that you can spot early on to weed out a partner that has settled for you. Whether they do not find you attractive regarding chemistry, or perhaps in relation to compatibility, you lack the same core values that are necessary to sustain a lifelong bond. It is sad to say that many men and women today have a mindset when it comes to relationship and marriage that this is something that you fall into, that it just kind of happens. When in reality, this is a vital decision that you must make from a sober mind based on your standards and God's will. This is an area of your life that you cannot afford to settle in, or else you will have immeasurable pain that will last till the day you die. In order to give you more insight on how to avoid a one-sided relationship, I'm going to read to all of you a comment from a subscriber in which he got involved with a woman, a co-worker of his, who didn't find him physically attractive. She had settled for him. And as we go through it, you're going to see how it affected him and how their relationship ended. So let this be a lesson to all of you. With that said, let's begin. And for those of you who are new, welcome to Relearning Relationships. My name is Christian, and I teach men to master relationships righteously. Now we can begin. So this subscriber by the name of Barris, he left a comment on a video I made titled Why Looks Matter to Women. I'll leave the link in the description so you can check it out if you want. He says, I have been in the exact situation that you mentioned in your video. You are so right. I want to share my story, and maybe someone who reads it can benefit from it. I started to date a girl approximately 7 months ago and got dumped 1 month ago. His comment was written 4 weeks ago from the time that I'm publishing today's video. He said the first time I saw her was in a company event. She's a co-worker of mine. She approached me and talked to me, but it was more of a friendly approach. He says, I'm a software engineer and work remotely. But after that friendly encounter, she helped me a couple times for work-related stuff. I didn't ask for help. I just wrote to our company WhatsApp group that I needed help on X, and she offered her help. Then I added her on social media. I sent a non-work related text and she reciprocated. And after that, she started to text me a lot. So our journey began. Now, it is always risky and very dangerous to get involved with someone that you work with. The reason is simple. If it goes south and you work together, it can jeopardize your work. Now, this woman gave him a friendly approach. There is no insight there that she finds him attractive. Obviously, she is reciprocating. However, they don't know anything about each other. Let's continue on. He said, I moved to another city and we set a date, and we then started dating. Our interests, hobbies, and opinions were matching, but I started to feel that something was missing. Like Christian mentioned, there was no intimacy. And then after a couple of months, things started to fall apart. She was very manipulative, and I unfortunately was very open to it. She went hot and cold during our dating process. Deep down, I knew when we were on our first date that she was not satisfied with my looks. And without physical desire, the relationship became like walking on thin ice. Now, this is where chemistry comes in. See, chemistry is the emotional attraction between a man and a woman who are physically attracted to each other. It's that intense feeling of passion and desire. Let's just think about this for a moment. God created man and woman to be together in marriage. For this reason, you should have an intimate connection so that you can desire to be close to each other physically. And you should crave intimacy and sex and passion. The Bible is very clear on this. If we go through Proverbs 5, verse 18 through 19, it says, "Let your fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of your youth. Let her be as a loving hind and a pleasant roe. Let her breast satisfy thee at all times, and be ravished always with her love." Translation into modern English, always be intoxicated with each other. God's setting the standard very clear. He made sex for husband and wife. Therefore, a man and woman should marry each other, not just because of the same values, but because they actually find each other attractive. Healthy, mentally stable men want a beautiful woman. And healthy, mentally stable women want a handsome man. Anybody who doesn't believe that is living a lie. And for those listening, everybody has a type. Men and women who are healthy and mentally stable want someone that they find very attractive, who they share the same values with. That is what sustains a bond. It's very important, but most people neglect that. You think, I'll just take someone because they're nice to me. Remember, you either make a decision based on desperation or inspiration. If you date someone immediately after a breakup, or to take the mind off of your miserable life, you're not really going to be looking for these things. Make a conscientious choice from a sober mind. You've thought things through. As a man, you're prepared to be a husband and a father. As a woman, she's done the same to be a wife and a mother, or at the very least, you're both willing to. And you're ready to search and look. But you don't compromise your standard here. Because if you don't find each other attractive, how could you be intimate in marriage? You're meant to find the one you share your life with beautiful. And that's reality. Husband and wife should be intoxicated with each other. This ingredient is vital for marriage. And regarding mutual chemistry, there are 3 things you can all look for. Number 1 is quality time. As time goes on, the bond is so strong that the time you spend is prolonged. It's engaging. So when you're spending time together, you're enjoying being in each other's presence. And of course, the pattern repeats and it becomes consistent. You spend some time away because you're both working, whatever happens to be, but then you reconnect and re-engage. And the time remains prolonged, engaging and consistent. Very important. The next thing here is words of affection. You cannot fake physical attraction. As a man, you will not want to compliment a woman you do not find attractive. For the ladies, it's the same thing. So you want to look at the woman's actions, men. Does she ever compliment your appearance genuinely? I like your smile, I like your eyes, I like your hair. When a woman finds you handsome, she's going to do those things naturally. It's going to be spontaneous and organic. You don't need to ask her for it. She'll give it freely as a gift from her heart, because she does find you handsome. Obviously, by the way she looks at you, you should tell. As Baris said here in his comment, after he was on that first day, he could see she wasn't satisfied with his looks. He obviously stayed because he had a knowledge gap, he was young and lustful. He figured, I'll make it work, as most people do. Or the relationship will just kind of happen. This is normal. It's not. This is someone you're sharing your life with. You have to be serious about this. Why would you want to be with someone that doesn't think you're handsome? It's a waste of time. You're hurting each other in the long run. And this is what affects your self-esteem as well. Because once you go through that breakup, then you convince yourself, maybe I am unattractive. Maybe nobody wants me. But that's not true. There is somebody out there for everyone. You just have to go out there and find them. Go through the no's to get to the yes. For all the men listening, what if I told you you were just 50 rejections away from meeting your future wife? Then you wouldn't be afraid to go out there and approach a woman and say hello, because you're getting closer to that number. Same thing for the ladies. Those guys that you look at and you give a little stare at because you think he's handsome, one day one of those guys is going to come up and approach you. You might do it to him. And that's it. That's the guy for you. But you have to put yourself out there. You're not a tree. You actually have to move. You have to take action upon this. Okay? But we continue on with chemistry. Okay, so other than looking at words of affection, this intimacy, she's not just going to compliment your appearance, but she will also compliment your character. She should, if she feels attraction for you, she should give praise to who you are as a man. Your qualities, your integrity, your loyalty, your kindness, your strength. She thinks you're masculine. You make her laugh. She trusts you. She should be giving that to you if she loves you. And then finally, of course, intimacy. If you're close, there's going to be some form of physical touch, holding hands, putting an arm around you, giving you a kiss. A woman that thinks you're attractive wants that. If she settles for you, you could be the sweetest man in the world. But if she doesn't think you're handsome, she's not going to feel comfortable to be close to you. Even if she forces herself for a few weeks, that will run very hot and cold. It will not be consistent. And you can always tell by the way a woman looks at you. The non-verbal signs of attraction. The eyes are the windows to the soul. Never let that one slip. You should both feel the same way. Excited, enjoying each other's company. Spending hours and hours talking. Every time you meet up, your emotional attraction spikes. Your love should be growing for each other on a daily basis. But when one of you settles, the love you have for each other becomes limited. Because something's missing. If we go back to the comment here with Barris, even though they were matching in hobbies, interests, and opinions, they seem to have compatibility, at least in lifestyle. He's mentioning a lot of things based on lifestyle here, not really much on values, as far as I know here. Haven't really discussed marriage, kids, where they see themselves going, but just lifestyle. That's okay. But there's no chemistry. He obviously found her attractive. She didn't feel the same way. And he could tell something was off. He says the only bond with a significant other is that you emotionally bond. Exactly. You can spend enough time around somebody whether you like them or not, even if you don't think they're that attractive. But just by spending enough time around them, guess what? Your feelings will grow. You will develop an emotional attachment, sure. So you develop some feelings of closeness, some type of affection. Yeah, you'll feel somewhat connected, but it will be limited. Because you don't really want them physically. Because you settle for them. There's that spark is lacking. The feelings that you develop for them will always be limited. Even though you spend weeks, months, or even years together, you see it with a lot of couples who settle. They start looking very, very similar. You know, you can't tell which one's masculine, which one's feminine. Is the man leading? No, you don't see that. The roles flip, right? Or it dissipates. They just walk away from each other. You either grow together or you grow apart. And if there is one-sided chemistry or compatibility, the emotional connection you both have is going to always be limited. That's reality. There is nothing else to it. So you don't want to live a lie convincing yourself that, oh, if I give it more time, maybe we have 2-3 kids and a mortgage and a house, then she'll start finding me more attractive. It doesn't work that way. She thinks you're handsome or she doesn't. And for all the men listening, do not neglect that. The warning sign is there from the beginning. There was no intimacy. She did not find him attractive. She wasn't smiling at the guy. He could tell on the first date she wasn't satisfied with his looks. Don't neglect that. If there is no non-verbal or verbal cues of physical attraction, there's no words of affection from her end, even the time you spend together starts to become limited, something's lacking. If you're doing everything right as a man, you're calm, okay, you're respectful, you lead her, you court her accordingly, you romance your woman, you're a good communicator, you're loyal, she should be growing closer and closer to you. She should be nesting with you. She should want to make you a priority. And if she's not, and you're spending more time, she's not for you. Walk away. Continuing on with Barris's comment. He says, and we all know sooner or later that there will be disagreements or arguing. Well, when there is mutual chemistry and compatibility, there is trust, there is respect. The only sort of issues there will ever be would be maybe a minor misunderstanding or miscommunication. And even then, there will be no threats, no manipulation, no insults, because you both understand. You have pure intention. You actually love each other. You never do anything to truly hurt each other. So you can sit there and talk things through, and the problem gets resolved. But when you see couples that stay and they're not really compatible, the disagreements and arguments can become very bitter and resentful. Right? Sometimes they can become very abusive. But disagreements and arguments should always be at a very minimum. And as I just mentioned, as long as you have mutual chemistry and compatibility, this should be happening for something very tiny, a slight misunderstanding here and there. This shouldn't be a weekly or a monthly occurrence. It should be very, very rare. What does he say in the following? He says, when that happens, referring to disagreements and arguments, if you don't have the advantage of physical desire, then it's pretty much an uphill battle for you. Well, what actually happens is, when you settle for someone, you don't really truly want them. You don't really see yourself as someone that you've chosen to share your life with. You're not really going to fight for the relationship. And people who are also emotionally immature, or they have poor emotional intelligence, and they feel trapped in that relationship, they may use those disagreements and arguments as an outlet to vent how they truly feel. So they'll start to show disrespect. They'll start to show that they don't care. They will start to disconnect emotionally because they feel too afraid to walk away, because they think they're supposed to stay and work it through, because they're too afraid to admit to you, listen, I'm sorry, I settled, I don't think you're that attractive. Very few people are going to come out and say that. But people will always treat you how they feel about you. You look at people's actions, and you look at the pattern in their behavior, and that metric is how you weigh out how they feel about you. As a man, ask yourself, does your woman give you respect and admiration? If the answer is yes, you're doing everything as you should, and she actually chose to be with you. But if you're doing everything right, and there's no respect, no admiration, she settled for you, or there's something wrong with her. Vice versa. If you have a good woman in your life and you think she's stunning and you really can see yourself spending your life with her, well, let's say you're watching and you're already married and committed, well, you're always going to give your woman praise and affection. So for any women who are watching this video, ask yourself, the man that you're with, does he give you genuine praise, true compliments? Does he actually give you actual words of affection? Because remember, femininity grows through praise. He makes you feel safe and comfortable. He really romances you. Is he affectionate with you? It tells us in the Bible, as men, to be softer with your wives because they're the weaker vessel, to be delicate with them and protect them. As a lady, if you're watching, ask yourself, your man, your boyfriend, your husband, your fiancé, is he softer with you? Is he calm and patient? Is he loving and tender? Or is he abusive and brutish? Does he lash out and get angry and shout and raise his voice? Because if you're doing everything right as a woman and you are submissive to him and follow his lead, well, and you've chosen a man that you also find handsome and he thinks you're beautiful, well, guess what? That man will be affectionate and he will praise you. But if he's not, or he stops doing it, there's something off about him, or he's settled for you. Because if a man is with a woman and he doesn't really think she's that attractive, or he doesn't really think she's right for him, maybe her values are off, they don't have the same things in common, maybe he wants a family and he doesn't, they're incompatible, what's going to happen is he can't really give genuine compliments. He can't really give her praise or that love. Why? Because he's not feeling it, so he can't fake it. And even if he does, if you're a woman watching, you're intuitive. You're going to sense something is off with him, right? It's not going to add up. So man or woman, ask yourself these things. As a man, do you receive respect and admiration? And to the ladies, are you getting praise and affection or not? This should be consistent. This should be watered. The same way you take care of your flowers, your garden. You always give them water every day. You don't want them to wither and die now, do you? But it's the same thing with a relationship. It's mutual effort. But guess what? If you're lacking chemistry or compatibility, the effort's always one-sided. And sooner or later, that's going to start hurting. And then the warning signs come out. And then you go back to the beginning of the relationship and you see that there were red flags, there was incompatibility, or a lack of chemistry. Always goes back to the beginning. There's no secret tactic or strategy, it's just a principle. It's just truth. This is objective, it's repeatable, and you can use it on any single situation. Look around you, people watch couples. Do they really look happy? Are they mutually into each other? Do they both feel lucky to have each other? Don't play games with your life, or you're going to pay a price later on. If you choose poorly, you're going to reap what you sow. And then there's more pain to deal with later on. For all of you watching, I don't want any of you to settle. Love is the high standard you should have. Everything else weighs upon that. But as Barris said here in his comment, when you having disagreements, when you're having arguments, there's settling, she doesn't find you attractive, it's going to be an uphill battle. She can't force herself to really respect you if she doesn't like you. You think people that are forced into arranged marriages with someone they didn't choose to be with, there's no free will there, that they're going to genuinely be into them? Of course not. He says, the ice that you walk on will start to crack and eventually you will fall. As I said, she was a very vulnerable narcissist and destroyed my mental health in a very short time. The long story short, according to Barris, is that if she doesn't find you physically attractive and you feel it, end it right there. Exactly. Prevention is better than cure. If you, as a guy, you've got pain in your balls, for example, don't wait. Go to the urologist and get checked out. You could have testicular cancer. Or at the very least, you clear up your issues and you continue on safely about your life. Don't leave things until you wait, because then there's more stuff to clear up. For the men listening, you're dating a girl. It's been 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. You ain't got one genuine compliment. She starts being inconsistent with her time. She's not really texting you back. She's giving you wishy-washy excuses. Don't try and force it. Walk away. Try and talk to her or extend a date. If she shuts her down, walk away. Same thing for the ladies listening. If you're with a guy that he's not complimenting you, you're out on a date and you see him looking at different women, he disappears. He's not really making you a priority. He's not leading you. He's not romancing you. He's not serious. He says he doesn't want to talk about important topics. The guy's not serious. Walk away. Barra says at the end here, if you don't do it, you are digging your own grave. Furthermore, I will add this at the end. Mutual chemistry is only ever going to be achieved when the conditions of physical and emotional attraction are met. You just find each other attractive. Emotionally speaking, there is trust and respect. You're both genuine. You have your standards. You lay your cards out on the table. You're open with each other. Clear communication. Because men and women who are serious about marriage, they value this. So they will never settle. And if you are serious about your life, especially as a man, you want a good woman by your side, you want to raise children, well, the wife you choose is such an important and paramount part of your life. This is someone you should be growing old with. You have to have the best relationship possible with them. That's impossible if it's one-sided. Don't settle for the wrong person. Barris was honest enough. He dated a co-worker for 7 months and look what happened. She wasn't that into him. It's very surface level, hobbies, interests. Okay, for lifestyle, that's good. There's nothing there about their values, about their belief system, what they want, where they're heading. Can they actually grow together and build a life together or not? But it was there at the beginning. Remember, the red flags you ignore at the beginning become the deal breakers in the end. He knew from the first day she wasn't satisfied with his looks. Then why did she go on a date with him? Then you have to ask yourself, what were her intentions? Most likely insecure, doesn't know what she wants, but it's better than being at home staring at the four walls, right? Go out, get herself a meal. It's better than being lonely. There's a lot of people out there that don't have standards. Ask quality questions when you meet someone. What do you want? What are you looking for? Tell me about your lifestyle. Tell me about your friends. Tell me about your upbringing. Talk. Lay your cards out on the table. Share who you really are. Because the only sort of partner or potential partner that is going to be afraid to open up, respond to those questions, or shut down is someone who's either not into you and is settling and realizes you are serious, or someone who has something to hide and knows that, okay, this person is serious and is going to weed me out early on. And because of that, they up and go and walk away. But either way, it's a win-win. Because the one that is right for you, who is compatible with you, who also finds you attractive, is going to be happy to finally interact with a man that knows what he wants, is clear about it, and is honest enough to wear his heart on his sleeve and lead with his standards and lay his cards out on the table. That's going to invite her to be honest in return. And now you're creating and you're building a bridge of trust, because how you start is how you finish. And for a genuine woman, guys, that is a breath of fresh air. To see a man that's honest like that and says it as it is. He's not holding back. He's not doing any tactics or mind games. He's just being genuine. He likes her. He shows her that through his actions, and he tells her what he's looking for. And if she really feels the same way, she'll talk, she'll respond, and then you start the interaction off properly. If she's right for you, she's going to recognize your worth as a man, and she's going to be more than happy to continue getting to know you, and you're off to a good start. Only the women that don't have anything in common with you, or are settling, or are not that serious, are going to run like the wind. Either way, it's a win-win. You either find someone that's going to be your future wife, or you don't. And if you don't find someone who is going to be your future wife, you keep going until you find one that is. And that decision is in your hands. So I'll leave you with this. Please understand that the only type of woman to stay with a man she doesn't feel chemistry towards is either going to be emotionally immature. Okay, so she's, underdeveloped, poor emotional intellect. Okay, doesn't really know what she wants, so probably raised around an environment where she was very selfish, mollycoddled, spoiled. Okay, it could be a woman who's emotionally damaged. Okay, she may have a mental illness, personality disorder, childhood trauma, trust issues from the previous relationships which affect her ability to relate and bond with a man. Because she has had such a difficult life, she may find it very hard to develop standards for herself or see herself being a wife or mother. Okay, she could have had things that have happened to her which hinder her ability to really choose a man that she wants. She may not think she's even deserving of a good man or a man she's attracted to. So she's just going to take whatever comes her way, right? But if there's unresolved trauma, it's a red flag. Or it can be a woman that's just immoral. There's godless women, We had a subscriber a few months back that dated a girl who fucked 87 men. Excuse my French, but she slept with 87 men at the age of 19. So there you have it. There's people like that look for a relationship, even though they can't bond anymore. Which is why you want to weed out red flags at the beginning. If you turn a blind eye to it, they're going to come out sooner or later. So again, a woman that's immoral, she has a godless lifestyle. She doesn't believe in marriage. She doesn't believe in loyalty. She doesn't really want a husband she can love and serve. She just wants the man that's going to be an addition or a trophy to her life. She's not going to make an effort and be a wife or a mother because she doesn't believe in that, right? It could be a woman that is a feminist, okay? So your values are completely different. But some women like that will stay with a man because it's simply better than being alone. And you want to watch out for that, man. Protect yourself. Do not be lustful. In these instances, there is nothing you can ever do to change her mind. If she has settled for you, then she may stay with you, but what will happen over time is that she will disconnect emotionally. This is where you see these couples that they're married 10, 15, 20 years and they sleep in different rooms. They go to bed at different times. They divorce, they separate, they stay in it for the kids. When the kids get old and leave, then they get the divorce because they need to fake it anymore. Or there are some times where they actually leave. A woman who settles for you may just dump you once she's realized that, she builds up her strength and says, screw it, I can't be with this guy anymore, I'm not happy. Or she may cheat, whether it's physical or emotional betrayal. She may. And of course, that depends on her integrity or lack thereof. But just know that getting involved with a woman that does not reciprocate the same level of physical attraction and chemistry towards you will eventually lead to a relationship that goes absolutely nowhere. It's really simple. There will be inconsistency. There will be emotional unavailability. As Barris said, she was going hot and cold. But when someone is genuine, their actions are always the same. There's going to be red flags. There is going to be a fear of commitment from their end. There's going to be a lack of standards. And those different variables make it so that between you and her, you will be completely incapable of sustaining a lifelong bond yourself, because her heart and soul isn't in it. You want a woman that chooses you because she wants you for you. Okay? This is what happens when you are in a one-sided relationship. and the signs are always going to be there at the beginning. Do not neglect this. You're responsible for the quality of woman that you choose. And for the ladies listening, you can flip it. This is the same thing for a man. When you go out there and start courting a man, you start dating him, look for these things. Okay? People treat you how they feel about you. So with that said, hope you've all enjoyed the video. God bless all of you and your families. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. If any of you have a case study or any topics that you would request, feel free to send me an email too, and I can get back to you privately. For those of you who are interested in joining Relationship Mastery, link in the description, book a call with me on the calendar. We can discuss all the details. And of course, for those who are interested in purchasing the book, you can go to Amazon, Relearning Relationships, and get yourself a copy. With that said, hope you'll have a wonderful day. I'll chat to you all in the next one.